Hi guys, so this video here is taken from a full course on building a track from scratch in Logic. You'll be able to watch all of the Logic related videos for the course on YouTube. There will be a link to the playlist below for you. But in this course, we're basically building this whole track from scratch. If you want to follow along with that, you can. And if you want to download the project file and all the samples that go with the course, there's a link to that in the description as well. I hope this video is useful to you and that you're able to follow along with the course. Let's jump into it.
Feeling heavy, but now I'm steady, going up from hitting the ground.
Okay, so let's have a look at this referencing thing that I mentioned. Now, the first thing I'm going to suggest is if you're going to go down this road and you can afford a plugin, there is a particular plugin that I massively recommend. It just makes this a lot easier. It's called Magic AB. Now, I got a really old version of it. There's a way updated version of this now, but I'm still using this one. Basically, it's got tracks in it here preloaded that I would like to reference to. I can choose the track. A is my track, B is that track. I can match the overall level and set a loop, so I can very easily compare them side by side. Switch between different tracks. You don't need it, but I do massively recommend it. You'll use it loads as you go forward. So let's get rid of that for the minute. The way that we can do this otherwise is we're going to need a blank audio track. So let's pop a new audio track in here. Just going to get audio and that in there. You can stick it right at the top, right at the bottom, completely up to you. For argument's sake right now, we'll stick it up the top. Let's just rename it ref. And I've got a folder here. These are my two references that I use. These are taken from the CD, so they're in high quality WAV at 44.1. And we're going to take Plastic World from Pendulum. We're going to stick that up the top here. And what we're going to do is take a key chunk of that track that we want to listen to over and over and reference. Then what we can do is we're going to take the gain down. I think it's about 12 dB for this, usually, to keep it in a similar sort of vein. And then very simply, if you hold Option and click Solo, we can hear that, just that track. If we now do the same thing, so here we can listen to our track. If we then hold Option and click Solo, it will solo just this for us. That's a bit quiet, so let's just change the level again, make it about -9. You're just going to A and B between them. And what you're not listening for the differences in the track, you're listening for the differences in the overall tone. So you're not really listening for differences in the track, you're listening to it as a whole. Like, does the snare sit out a lot more in that track? Has it got a lot more high end? Now, what I'm hearing straight away comparing these two is that my track's lacking a lot of high end clarity, sort of 1K through to 4-5K. It's got a lot less clarity and punch in there. So I know that now I need to start going through and adjusting things in my mix that are going to give that extra like punch and clarity through. And we'll do that with boosting EQs and maybe adjusting some levels. Now, this track's got a massive kick and a huge snare. Mine doesn't, but we're listening for that overall balance of the mix. Yeah, my kick's a lot louder. There's a lot more low end weight, which you wouldn't expect. But that's something else that we can maybe balance out, which might help us improve that high end punch and that clarity. That's how that's coming through. And that's what we're going to be doing as we go through referencing tracks here. Now, another trick we can use to get an idea of really what those areas are, and we'll do this now to see if I got this right in terms of that low end and the high end clarity, is use that match EQ trick again. But this time we're just going to put it on the master bus. Going to get match EQ. Going to go current, which is going to be our track. And what we want to do really is go through the biggest part of our track that we're going to be referencing and trying to match. And then we're going to do the same thing but for the reference tune. So hit learn, let it go. So now we're going to have a match between the two. And I can see straight away, I mentioned the high end sort of 1K through. So straight away it's telling me I need to boost that. Now the low end can generally be ignored because it's going to be in a different key and things like that. So we could narrow that right down, bring it up like this. But something like that as an EQ curve is what I'm going for. But I'm going to go to my individual channels to give it those kind of boosts and adjustments. But you could cheat and just do this. So that is actually really improving my mix, isn't it? It's way overdone, so let's maybe dial it back so it's just a few dB. But we've now got that reference there that we know we've got that to work to, and that's the kind of thing we need to improve in our tracks. So lots of high end, and we've definitely got some stuff going on like around between 1K and 500 we don't need, and then a bit below 500 down to sort of 300 we don't need, but mainly this high end really bring that brightness out. That's going to help us fix our mix.